Welcome back to the channel, you guys. We got a great show lined up for you guys today. It's going to be an awesome show. So I would love for you guys to stick around. This is going to be an awesome show, everybody. I got a great interviewer today. She going to be live in the studio with us today. So we finna rock out like we do. So let's get into it, everybody.
And he was going there and just a nightmare, disrupting everything, yelling, crying, all kinds of stuff, running out to the car.
So if this is y'all first time to the channel, I would love for you all to go watch the recent interviews or the latest videos we did back in the day with Richie also. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's up?
I can't call it, man. It's another beautiful day.
I have a way of navigating my way through triggers, but in the process of recovery, I've picked up a lot of tools and I've latched on and jumped in the back pockets of people with more experience in recovery. And when I have those triggers, I pick up tools.
Now, this is Mr. Show Out TV, my podcast, where we talk about addiction. We try to come up with solutions. We try to come up with ways that we can actually help people that is battling addiction. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. We got a very, very, very special guest lined up for you guys today. Shanisa. I hope I'm saying your name right, baby girl. We go get it right. I got a very special guest lined up. Like I said, you guys, if you're new to the channel, this is a Sober Gang Experience podcast where we dive into everything addiction. And I'm a recovery, and I'm also a long-term person in recovery as well. So, I battled alcoholism for over 18 years. So this is the channel right here. You don't need to go nowhere else. This is the channel where we come to inspire and motivate a lot of people in addiction. But like I said, we got a very special person in the studio with us today, and she will be sharing with us her story about addiction and everything that she battled with, man, and how she trying to climb up out of that and live her life the right way. So that is what we're about. So if you're new to the channel right now, I would love for you guys to take the time out to make sure you give this video a thumbs up, hit that like button right off the bat, and subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. So we're finna dive right into it, you guys. Welcome to the channel.
Hey.
How you doing? We're gonna just dive on into it. Who is Chanisa?
Chanisa is becoming a woman. I'm from Mississippi. I'm a mother of 3, one on the way now, so this will be my third. I'm still learning and getting to know Chanisa, so it's not much that I could really say about her because there's a lot of things that I'm learning about her. So I'm getting to know her.
Absolutely. And once again, you guys, like I said, if you guys would have any of your comments, I will be showing your comments at the bottom of the screen, so you guys can do that as well. So we just want to dive into it, man. We're gonna have a great time, you guys. So thank everybody out there that's right now. If you tuned in right now, thank you, and make sure you get this video a thumbs up. So Shanisa, can you tell us a little bit about your background, growing up as well?
I come from a big family from Mississippi. Uh, really a very praying family on both sides. Um, my mother and my father both are from Mississippi, 2 different cities though. Um, I grew up pretty privileged
Mhm.
and protected, of course, and um, a lot of things that I didn't understand then, I'm understanding now, having my own children. So, uh, like I said, I'm still learning. I'm
Oh
still
yeah.
learning.
Every day, every day we learn something about ourselves. I know that's about me and me being in my recovery as well. I'm finding out that I'm very resilient. when we go through a lot of stuff, we battle test it, as I would love to say. We battle test it. So we're gonna jump right into it. But you're doing a great job, actually, man. I'm so glad that you reached out to me. And so we're gonna try to inspire a lot of more people.
I appreciate that, and thank you
Hmm.
for the opportunity because I've been trying to find places and platforms that I can actually speak on it where it'll help others, also help myself as well. Because nobody could do it by themselves, but nobody will be able to get through it when everybody else don't have an understanding of what you're actually going through. So it's like a test and trial basis. I had to go different places and talk to different people just to understand that some conversations and certain topics are not for everybody.
Right.
So you're right, this is the perfect place for me to start.
Yeah. You welcome. We welcome you with open arms over here. We would love for you to join our panel of guest speakers. We have we have women and men, and we all come on here and we just share our stories. And sometimes we have topics that we all talk about. I might send everybody the topic, ask them are they comfortable with talking about this, and and so we just go from there. So that's what we love to do over here, man. So hey, you a part of the family now, so we welcome you for real.
I think that. Thank you.
Can you tell us about your journey with addiction, including what led you to seek your recovery?
I've been on and off drugs and alcohol for years, since probably 14 years old. And it's been times where I've taken breaks. It's been times where I've went years, and it's been times where I didn't have no choice. I was forced. So the addiction became stronger when certain things was forced, and I really didn't have an understanding of why I needed to stop doing what I was doing because I was so comfortable with a certain lifestyle. And then it was a point where I was working at a club and I went from dancing to waitressing, but I was still in that lifestyle where I had to be on point and I had to be on my toes, and it was money to be made. So I didn't want to miss a beat, and sleep wasn't an option.
Absolutely. So you had to get it how you live, basically.
Right.
What made you seek, to want to get recovery?
I got tired of it, and once you go to once you go from one window to another window, you start to see different worlds. And smoking weed and doing crystal meth is two different worlds. And people will start treating you a lot different from you becoming a weed buyer up until a crystal meth buyer.
Right.
And once I realized that I was being treated differently and looked at differently, which nothing was different about me but my, drug of choice, that's when I felt like, okay, I got to make a change.
What led you to switch it up? Was it the work environment? What made you, want to switch it up from weed to go to a stronger drug?
Curiosity, and I think mainly just giving up. I had gave up at one point. I stopped loving myself and really putting too much trust in people that really didn't care to see me do well anyway. So it was easier for me to be a victim or become a, you know, become an addict because I was so easy to say yes and try anything. And
Abs-
once coke stopped working and pills stopped working, I felt like okay, that was the next best thing.
Absolutely. I know exactly what you mean because, like I said, I battled with drinking for quite a long time in my life, and then in like my early 30s, that's when I dibble and dabble and started using cocaine, you know what I mean? And so that just took it to a whole new area, you know what I mean?
Mm,
So that was a whole new playing field for me. And so during that time, I was like, you know what? Just like you said, sometimes you get tired of the whole situation, so you won't change. So that's where I'm at right now. And like I said, you're doing an awesome job, man. Continue to do what you're doing because we need way more people like yourself that can stand out and speak about it. Because a lot of people, they go through these things alone. You know what I
mm,
mean? They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to, just let it be known that they struggling. So
And
this
that's
is
what most addictions lead to. I think when I went to jail for a couple of months, it took me having to see for myself it how the drug reacted to different people and how they used to come down off of it, how some would detox, how some would withdraw. And I think by me being pregnant, I didn't too much pay attention to it until I had to save a couple of lives.
mm,
And like you said, being alone, a lot of them realized that they was in it by themselves, so they was a little bit further than I was. So trying to help them regain their strength or just wake up and take a bath or just do something to try to get them off their feet. It was hard. It was a challenge to see that because I never got to that point until a couple of years ago. And the drug will trick you. You'll think that you mentally strong, but all in all, it's physically putting you in a place where your mind is not prepared for the physical part. So I really had to plant that seed of wanting to quit. And
mm.
it took time. It took some time for it to actually grow. So it didn't come overnight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I tell a lot of people when we in our recovery, man, it's a 24-hour job. And a lot of times, we will be triggered. It will be outside people. We will get stressed. It's life comes along with it. But one thing about it is how we handle it, is how we got to stand solid. We have to stand solid and firm in our recovery and the process and the things that we have learned to help us guide us through that. So it's a 24-hour job every day, waking up and wanting to remain sober and clean. Yeah, it's a job. Like I said, it's a work in progress. So when you stop dancing, that your drug and everything kind of go with that, or did it get a little worse?
I say it got worse because I was more social.
Right.
Um, Let me see how I can not describe it. A dancer had to be committed, and being a waitress, I was working. So it was like I could be myself without having to sell a dream, but at the same time, I still had to remain social. So it all fell into the same lifestyle, but I was in a different field where I saw more and I had access to more. So that really kind of how it became stronger because I was able to slip through certain places and go certain
Mm,
places and do certain things
right.
without having to have all the attention of
Yeah.
what it would be like to be a dancer.
Right.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That could be tricky as well, because like you said, when you being a dancer and a waitress, man, you go got men, and sometimes you have to go to another place to just try to block out everything that you're seeing. And then
Mhm.
of course, it's a lot of men coming in there. They probably got big boy money and stuff like that, and
Right.
drugs and things of that nature. It's easily accessible. You can
Right.
pretty much get what you want just by easily right there. So I knew that was kind of that'll be hard on anybody.
Yeah.
Going through the struggle.
And I ain't had the patience to sit up and talk. I commend all dancers, and I'm not knocking the hustle whatsoever. I'm all for it. If anything, gotta be the eyes behind your head. But I
Right,
didn't have the patience for it because I was a busybody, and I like to hustle. I
right,
like to do more than one thing. So that's
right,
when it kind of fell into my pockets like that.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. When did you know it was getting a little bit too bad? When did it really just hit the fan that, what, I probably need to stop doing some of this?
Um, After I had my second son, um, CPS came in. I'd dealt with CPS before, just on a tricky occasion, but this time it was more realistic. Um, the day I was leaving to bring my baby home, CPS had met me at the hospital on the way out, and they assured me that they wasn't gonna take my baby or nothing like that, but I was under investigation, and I didn't care too much about it, but just due to the circumstances and the situation, I considered a lot, but it really didn't become serious until my oldest son kind of started paying attention. He's getting older now. He just turned 5, and he got a lot more sense than adults do. So he would have conversations with me, and he just flat out said one day, like, he tired of people being mean to me, and he wanted me to leave that dope alone. And where that came from, I have no idea, but I guess he was just fed up with what he was hearing around him. And he asked me, he said, "Why you don't be mean to people?" And I said, "What made you say that?" He said, "Because I'm just tired of people being mean to you." And I'm thinking to myself, he only 4. He only 4 years old. What would make him say that? I'm getting him ready for school, and he just flat out said it. Like, "I'm tired of people being mean to you. Why you don't be mean back?" And I'm like, sometimes it don't take you, doing the same thing people do to you. You have to
Mm-hmm.
remain nice and be kind, so that way you could grow.
Right.
So that's when it woke me up to
Right.
finally just let it go.
A lot of times it be those small things that sometimes when we be in our addictive state of mind, we overlook those things. You know what I mean? But like you said, at these day of time right now, sometimes the kids, they can latch on and they observe a lot of things too. So
Mhm.
they'll give you hints or try to reach out and say certain things. Because I know it took for me the look of probably one of my kids one time seeing me drunk and hungover all the time, and they'll probably come in the house and you will just see the look on their face like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
That here we go again type look. And it was one
Yeah.
of those looks one time when I actually seen it, and I was like, man, it got to be more. I can't continue to keep doing this. So
And
it.
it takes a toll on them too, cause he held on to his pacifier for a long time, and I guess that
Mhm,
was like a soother for him. But
mhm,
I realize at times when he don't want to say nothing, or he don't want to talk, or he just don't want to be bothered, he'll put that pacifier in his mouth. And just like I said, this particular day, he took it out and he actually spoke. And when he spoke, it threw me off guard because I was like, where did that even come from? Somebody had to have just told you that, or
mhm,
somebody just had to like put that in your head. Like, what is it? And I guess, like I said, he was just fed up. And at one point in time, he was scared to come to me because my look started changing. I
mhm,
wasn't looking the same, and he was scared to come to me. And my baby, he recognized me one day. He recognized my voice, but he didn't recognize me, and it tore me up because I was like, dang, he don't even want to come to me.
Oh yeah, it's a eye opener sometimes, and it takes a lot of courage for us to want to go out there and try to get help as well, because a lot of times we'll be stuck in that mode, and sometimes we'll look over even the hints that the kids are giving us. We probably won't. We'll see them, but we probably be like, the addiction and the craving for the drug is way more stronger. Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that craving and that drug and that high is way sometimes way more stronger, and sometimes it take us just a little bit more listening
Mm-hmm.
and being aware of what's going on. So,
And
absolutely,
spiritually
absolutely.
gifted too. When you don't believe in anything, you could easily be, misled or betrayed. But once I come up in a household. My grandma took us to church,
Hmm.
but over time I lost that spirit. So I had to gain that spirit back in some kind of way. And like I said, my kids are the kids nowadays are way more advanced than we think they are. So just listening to him and paying attention to him and how he went from not want to be bothered with me at all to now we are inseparable. Like he
Hmm.
can't stay away from me. That that made it easier for me too. And when I first started the process and the physical part, that you're not ready for the physical part. The mental part you can have all day long, but that's when I really start to find my strength because I couldn't get past the physical part, and I always wonder why people went as long as strong as they did because they were scared of the physical part. Some people, had health problems
Mm-hmm.
afterwards. Some
Mm-hmm.
people, died afterwards. Some
Right.
people, I've had a couple of friends who overdosed on it, and looking for me, I've dodged that bullet as well. So, the physical part is what really took its toll because I wasn't prepared for it. The cold sweats, the
Mm-hmm.
sickness,
Mm-hmm.
and I understood then why people kept going because you feeding that addiction and you feeding that craving and it gets stronger. It
Yes,
gets
it do.
stronger by the minute.
Absolutely. You're so absolutely right. Um, were there any signs with any of your family members where because in my situation there was a lot of people telling me, hey man, you're drinking too much, but in my mind I'm like, I got this under control. You know what I mean? That's the first thing we say. We got it under control. We think we got it under control.
Yeah.
So were there any family members or any close friends or people telling you, what, maybe you should slow down or maybe you should think about getting help?
My mama. My mama was about the only one who did because everybody else really didn't care too much about it. They overlooked it.
Right.
They'll fool me faster than my own mama would, and she was my toughest critic throughout the whole thing. Even when I was in jail, she was very supportive. She was the only person that I could call, and even still to this day, I tell her don't stop loving me because she definitely was my strength through it all, and I felt her giving up. So that opened up my eyes too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you talk about your jail stint? How was that like? And can you talk about why you went in or how you went in or the reason why?
Um, old old fines. But the last charge that I ended up catching was due to my addiction, and I was in a sticky situation where I wasn't even supposed to be questioned, but it was more of a I'd rather it be me than you situation,
Right.
and
Right.
in the long run, it did backfire, but it also woke me up too, because when my rap sheet came back, I didn't realize all the charges I had accumulated over the years.
Hmm.
I'm thinking like this just one, major thing that I had to take care of, but they sent me my rap sheet back and I had charges from 2012 that I didn't even know that I had. So I had been running away from reality for a long time before I actually came to realize how big of a problem I really had. And I only been playing around with crystal meth for a couple of years before anything else.
Hmm.
And I was a bad alcoholic too.
Hmm.
So most of my charges came from being drunk, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or some old fines. But this one in particular made me wake all the way up because when you go places or you in certain situations where you have to be supervised or it's mandatory, that's when they start treating you different and
Right.
looking at you different and start handling you different.
Hmm.
And I could realize, I noticed from being an alcoholic or being just a pothead how it changed to now you're a junkie. Like you shooting up and you doing crystal meth, like you're a whole completely different person than what we thought you were. And when I went to go get help one time, um, I could remember the counselor reading all my charges instead of reading my health issues, what I was actually there for, which was my mental health.
Hmm.
And when he read all my charges, that's when I had to take a step back and look at what was really going on, because all the odds were stacked up against me.
Right. You're doing an awesome job. Like you said, man. You're doing an awesome job. Just keep working at it. It's one thing we got to do. You know what I mean? Even when the odds are stacked up against us, you got to find that courage. You got to find that strength to maintain, to continue on because it's easy to fall victim and start feeling bad for yourself and even when people looking at you and saying you this and saying you that, it's very easy to just fall into that and want to give up and be like, you know what? this addiction already got me under wraps. So man, I'm just gonna keep on doing it. But it take a
Mhm.
special type of person, and it take a strong-minded person to want to get out of that. And especially when you said you got the kids and everything. So I commend you on that, because a lot of people sometimes when they get them hints from their kids, they overlook it. When they get hints from friends and family members, they overlook it. And some of them don't even get there because it's too late. They overdose. So
Mhm.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Do you think that when you started using meth and shooting up, why do society look at that as different from just drinking and smoking weed? You know what I mean? Like you said, when you got to that, they started to look at you different. Why do you think society look at the difference in drugs? Because all drugs is a drug to me, but why do they society look at it like that?
The level of it, with the charges that you will get behind it, it's a little bit more serious than just a DUI or a little slap on the wrist. Um, Also, people like me, which I never done before, but people become more prone to stealing, lying, doing all types of crazy stuff like selling their bodies, and they just become untrustworthy. And that's why you'll find the best advice or best encouragement from junkies, because they have stories that'll move you in a way like they trying to save you from where they had came from. And once people start losing hope in you and you start showing them different, it don't necessarily be that you want to, but it's another spirit that take over, and it's hard to explain. So when they start to lose their trust in people, they become a little bit more, reckless.
Right.
They become careless. So, you're not mindful of how they feel. Why should they care how you feel?
Absolutely. At any point in your journey, did you seek any? Did you fall back into what like into church? Because that's a big thing right there. Because we ain't doing this on our own, Shanisa.
Right.
We yeah. Cause this, like I said, when I had to have emergency surgery, oh, I knew it was real, and I
Mhm.
knew it was only God that delivered me through surgery and got me on this path I'm doing right now. Because if it wasn't, he could have taken me out right then and there. So
Mhm.
did you get back into your spirituality a little bit when you fell, when you was at your lowest point?
Yeah, I did. The spirit gonna always be with you, but you start to realize the purpose of your spirit. I now have been going to church, not every Sunday, but I'm slowly but surely falling back into church with a friend of mine, actually my landlord, and I thank God for her, because if I didn't have that person that gave me that chance, this process would have been a lot harder for me to get through. And she was hesitant at first, but once I came back the second time, I guess it was my spark and my spirit and the look that I had from the time that she met me that told her that she was gonna give me a chance. So now, since then everything been falling in place, and I've been praying a lot more. My belief is a lot different. I don't take nothing for granted. I count every blessing that I have, even waking up in the morning and getting over those struggles of, okay, maybe today or maybe tomorrow. Like, I don't even have the thought of wanting to do it because I know how bad it was for me to get over it. So having people like my mom and my landlord, and even the ones that walked away from me, it's a blessing to be able to experience it and see it, because you miss those things when you up under the influence, even down to having my appetite, getting
Mhm.
my appetite back and able to eat and taste different stuff without forcing myself to do it.
Mhm.
It's a blessing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I see you glowing right now, and I see, yeah, I see you becoming the best version of yourself, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, man. when I look back at the past and seeing where I was at, I kind of look at what I'm doing now and be like, man, I came a long way
Mhm.
because I messed up a lot of relationships, a lot of people with friends. I had to mend a lot of things that I had broken
Mhm.
because I was in my addiction, because I was hard headed, because I didn't want to listen when people said I had a problem. You know what I'm saying? So them all that comes on me. But I found it. I'm like I said, we are resilient, and we have to be resilient in this, man. Because if we don't, we can fall victim to it, just like that, just like that.
Yeah.
So
And accountability
yeah,
had taken me a long way.
hmm
Like I said, once my rap sheet came back, it was like a whole list of things that was waiting on me. Like, oh, you think this is bad? Look at everything else that you'd have done and that you'd have got away with, and this is what you only getting, and it could be a whole lot worse. So I thank God for that. I thank God just for that much, because I could have been worse off. I
right.
could have been worse off. And I know it's a lot of people I've had this conversation with, even under the influence, that is not here to live this out with me. You know, some of them have died, some of them are in a deeper situation that they can't find themselves out of. So, you know, I pray for those and I still love them the same. I'll never turn my back on them whenever they're ready. You know, this is why I do what I do and reach out to different people like I do, because I want them to finally experience what I'm experiencing, and it's never too late.
It's never too late. I tell a lot of people that it's never too late to want to get right and to want change. Because at the end of the day, it's about the person who is suffering, but it's
Hmm.
also about the ones, the people who we taking care of, like you said, and for instance, our kids and stuff like that. We gotta do it for them as well because they looking up to us. They look up to you like as super mom. They look up to me like
Hmm.
super dad. And if super dad is not himself, or superwoman is not herself, super mom not herself, they can feel that. They can feel that.
Hmm.
So was your kids one of your motivational tools into helping you and to giving you that strength to want to just let it go?
Yeah, they were. Because what I couldn't talk to my mom about it was she didn't understand. My son did. And like I said, he's only 5, but he's more of a friend and he's more understanding than anybody else has been. And even though children are, forgiving, real love when your kids are involved, that unconditional love. Because
Absolutely.
despite how I looked or how I may have changed or how my physical appearance was, how the drug took over me, it bothered him for a minute. And even with me being away, my mother having to fill in for me while I was gone, he become more clean to her, but he never stopped loving me.
Right.
So yeah, they
Absolutely.
they were big motivation.
Right on. Looking at them now and looking at your transformation, how is life and everything right now going for you?
It's challenging. It's more challenging because you know, with the odds being against you, you have to work each and every day on the problems that occurred during the time of addiction. So I have to take one step at a time and kind of accept what I brought on myself. But at the same time, it's not up to me. I heard a pastor say that, you know, your faithfulness is up to you, but the results are God's. So that's what made me finally just accept everything that I have brought on myself and let go of what I'm expecting, because I have more people wishing on my downfall that were closer to me and that claim they wish me well, but they waiting on me to slip at any time.
that
So that's hurtful.
that is because as hard as it is to say, that is so totally true. And I don't know why it's like that because you know what? Like some of my closest people, and I don't understand this. It's like you seen me where I was at, and you asked for the change. A lot of people wanted to change. You know what I mean? And when I decided to get change, I didn't do it for them. Because
Right.
one thing about addiction, you gotta want to do it for yourself.
Right.
So even with this change, even with this little found success or whatever you want to call it, or whatever it is that I'm doing, because I know what I'm doing is reaching out to other people. Even with me doing this and going back to school and being clean for 2 years and trying to and start my own business, it's still some people that is wanting waiting on their downfall. And it's sad to say that. And some people will tell you they happy for you. And we know the ones that is genuinely happy.
Mhm.
But you have some people that actually love you and look you right in the eyes and don't even mean it. They just saying it.
Mhm.
And they just waiting on that. They waiting to say, "Oh, okay, I told you so." And it's
Yeah.
sad to say they don't want to keep you there when you up there. It's like
Mhm.
people are just prone to be negative. Don't nobody want to see the next person doing good. They don't want to see that the feel good story. Everybody waiting on that down story. You know what I mean?
Like I
And
told you
like
so.
I told you so
I knew it
story.
wasn't gonna be
Yeah,
long, and
yeah, that.
they ain't that strong. And
Yeah.
then them type of people you have to be careful with. And
Hmm.
I thank God for keeping me away from them and keeping them out my path, because though that played a major role in my addiction too. Because you'll start to believe that you are that you start to believe, okay, maybe I'm not that strong, and
Hmm.
yeah, I do have a problem, and it make the process longer. It
Yeah, it
make
does.
it make it a little bit more difficult, because you got these critics in your ear, and these are the same people that scared to acknowledge themselves and they
Yeah,
wrongdoings and they
yeah.
faults. And when I say accountability is hard for people to accept and take, these the same ones that scared to admit that they even have a problem themselves.
That's exactly. You said the words right out my mouth, man. They so ready to talk down on you and say what you doing or just don't be there for you, and they ain't even looking their own self in the mirror, but knowing they got the problem. It's easily to pick on somebody else when you don't even want to look your own self in the mirror and admit that you the one that maybe you the one that had the problem.
Right.
See, you know, I was still is kind of battling some of that. You know what I mean? But one thing I do, I just stay focused, man. And one
Yeah.
thing I learned that I can't please everybody. It ain't my job. You know, one thing about it, it's my job to make sure that I am content for what I'm doing, and I
Mhm.
stay clean for these kids at the end of the day, man. You know, because if you ain't go rock out with me, if you ain't go support me, I know, you know what I'm saying? I'm quite sure I got a lot of people, even on my YouTube, and a lot of people that rock out with me on my Facebook private groups and people like that. Oh, I got people that rock out with me and support me. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
man, sometimes I just brush that stuff to the side because what one person don't do, somebody will. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's
And
all
those
good.
ones that you don't know, that's actually wishing the best for you, and
Right,
that actually spiritually connected with you, you won't
right,
even know
right.
that they support you. You won't even know who's actually watching you and who you being a big motivation for and inspiring. And I've gotten that a lot since I've recovered, because
Right.
I've been out the way, and since I've moved, I've been away from the things and the people that I was once around, and that I once was, hanging around and getting high with. But now that I'm out the way, it's like, where you been? And man, I wish I had the same strength as you. Even my friend that overdosed, she used to tell me all the time, man, I wish I had your strength. I just don't want you to fall in the same category as me, because she was a heroin addict.
Hmm.
And she was like, you're not too far, but don't ever get this close. And coming back from rehab, she overdosed.
What What did you take from that? You know, I know you and your friend were probably close. Did it affect you mentally? Did it make you aware that you know what, seeing her go out? Was that a wake up call for you?
It wasn't because we kind of expected it. Um, we used to joke about it a lot, but in reality, the streets don't love nobody. So it was bound to happen to either one of us. We was just so deep into it, and traumas and life experiences will hurt you so deeply that we didn't care how it happened or what would have happened if it did occur. We just knew that hey, it's gonna happen one day if we keep going. But she was in it deeper than I was, so it was like she was saving me, but I didn't take it serious. I didn't take it serious.
Absolutely. Like I said, I commend you. You doing an awesome job, and it take a lot of courage. It take a lot of courage and it take a lot of strength when we navigating ourselves in this recovery and this sobriety and staying clean. Because, like I said, it's go be a lot of people that say they wish you well, but they really don't. And it's sometimes it seems like we got to prove it to them. And actuality, we really don't. We just got to make sure
Right.
we do the best for ourselves. Because one thing about it, man, trying to make a lot of people happy in your sobriety, man, it'll mess with your head.
And you
Yes,
got to think about it too. A lot of people haven't even smoked weed a day in
right,
their life. So they wouldn't know what it's like, or they haven't even experienced. They just going off of, family members or somebody that they have lost. But
hmm,
until you actually been an addict yourself, or even fell as deep as I did being just a junkie, you wouldn't
right,
know half of what it takes to even get to that point and how much it takes to get out of it. And when you have people that's in leadership and higher, you know, seats and stuff, when they look at you and say, "Oh, there is no hope for you if you don't get yourself together," it's almost like you put a key in my back.
right,
Because if you, well, I come across this all the time, and you're no different than the other ones. It's like you haven't ran across me
right.
because I
Yep,
know what my mission is. They probably telling you that to get out of trouble, but I'm sitting here admitting to you that yeah, I do have this, and I'll quit when I'm ready. But you're not gonna be around to see it. You
right.
wouldn't even know the difference because you didn't know what it was or what it took for me to get here.
Absolutely. So, did you do any rehab time? Did you find any treatment? Did you go to any rehab for extended time?
I was considering it.
Hmm.
I considered it a lot, but honestly, rehab for me was getting myself together on my own. I didn't want
Right.
another addiction. I didn't want another problem. I didn't want to have to commit to anything else
Hmm.
other than what I was already doing. And I felt like it would have been much harder for me to do rehab because I had to go to a mental hospital at
Right.
one point, and it was mandatory for me to go because I was facing some time, and this was before I caught my charge. And while I was there, I realized my strength didn't lie within me getting high or my addiction. My strength was somewhere else, and it was helping other people. So I said the only way that I'd be able to really get through this is if I get myself out of it. So how I started is how I ended it on my own.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I didn't want to rely on no doctors, and then especially after I did go for the help that I needed, and they weren't looking at that. They was looking at a way to use me to get what they needed.
Right.
And I didn't want that because I had already caused enough problems.
Right.
So rehab would have been an option, but I kept running into obstacles to get there.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
just prayed more.
have you mended or tried to make amends with any other relationships that you have broken, and any other relationships that because of your addiction and that you're trying to fix? Are there? Yeah,
No, not really.
not really.
Not really. Cause
Because of the
the most important one was with my mama, and
right.
she never let me go. She just gave me my space.
Mm-mm.
Um, my dad, he's tough love. He disappeared. Well, he didn't disappear. He just left me alone for like
Mm-mm.
2 years. He didn't even want to talk to me. So now it's like nothing ever happened. But anybody outside of that, oh, and my kids too.
Mm-hmm.
I never, they never stopped loving me, and I never lost a relationship with them. They everybody just kind of gave me my space.
Right.
But the ones that friendships and people on the outside of those, no,
Right. You just keeping it all to yourself and the core people in your family. So yeah,
right,
as long as they know what's going on. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Because it's
Ha-
the main ones that actually was preying on your downfall too.
yeah,
And guilty conscience tells all.
yeah, they
They
will.
can't even look at me straight.
Yeah, they will. I get that. I know exactly what you're talking about on that. How has your experience with addiction influenced your perspective on life and your personal growth?
You're a lot stronger than what you think you are. We don't know our own strength until we actually get to that point where we have no choice but to use the strength.
Absolutely. What steps are you taking to rebuild trust or mend relationships that may have been affected with your addiction?
Doing the opposite of what I normally would do. I stopped running.
Mhm.
Stop running. Stop avoiding, conflict, facing everything head on, taking accountability, admitting that I had a problem and admitting that I wasn't my best at all times. That has helped me out a lot. And
Abs-
instead of giving into the flesh, I kind of back away from it, giving in or giving up. I just kind of allow the universe and God to do what I never allowed them to do.
As
I'm
usual.
trusting God more.
Hmm. Exactly. In what ways have you learned to cope with your triggers or cravings that might arise during your recovery?
Letting it run its course. Um, I'll I do still struggle with tobacco here and there, but mainly just fighting myself. Actually, just getting in the ring and fighting myself.
Right.
And
Right.
I may be beat up, but
You gonna make it.
I got used to that. I got
Yeah.
used to it now. It ain't as
They
bad as me actually beating myself up with them
right.
needles every day.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Have you participated in any counseling or therapy programs to address the root cause of your addiction?
Um, Mental health. I went to a mental health hospital and we did group sessions and they did me a treatment at one point in time. This was years ago, and I had to do aftercare counseling, but they didn't take me as serious as the counselors in the hospital did. So I have, but not really, because it was mandatory at that time.
Right. How do you plan to use your personal experience with addiction and recovery to inspire others who may be going through the same situation?
Starting with the kids, if I can get somewhere like in a youth center or just do something that I could slowly but surely give back to my community. I braid hair,
Hmm.
so I want to get to a point where I'm that successful where I could, help out low income households and do the kids hair for parents who can't afford it.
Absolutely.
Canned food drives or just community service in some kind of way without it being, instructed for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just working my way into the youth,
Right,
because
because
that's mainly where it starts.
that's where it starts. And I was so finna say that you absolutely right. What type of self care practices or hobbies have you found to be beneficial in maintaining your own well being and your recovery journey?
Cleaning, praying, uh, staying to myself, and enjoying my own company.
Yeah, that's it. You gotta love self, man. That's one thing we gotta love ourselves, and we gotta be upbeat because this addiction. We ain't gotta always be gloomy and dark and sad. You know what I mean? We,
Right.
like I said, because I know I was seeing some of your pictures on your Facebook page of you doing her. You awesome. I mean, hey, if y'all out there and y'all watching right now, um, I will try to have your name if you don't mind on the description box, so y'all can contact her. And if y'all need to get set up right there for them appointments, man, because like she said, she's trying to help some women out there that probably can't afford it because your kids going to school and stuff like that. Sometimes a lot of people don't have that money, but you rock out when I seen the hairstyles that you were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. How do you plan to handle potential relapse triggers and setbacks that might arise in the future?
I don't entertain them. I don't give in to them. I pep talk myself every time I'm in a situation where I feel tempted, and I just pray. I pray through it. However you pray or however you meditate, it could be any time. It don't matter where you at. Even if you in church and you had a thought, that your spirit gonna always touch you at the right time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you set any long term goals for yourself to relate in your recovery?
Staying away from the old ways of how I used to do things. Because, like
Absolutely.
I said, we trust God, and it was a long period where I didn't want God to touch me at all. Like, I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I didn't believe that it could happen the way that it have happened, but it happened.
Absolutely.
So, just it's something out there that's stronger than us.
Okay, answer this question for me. My name is Shanisa. Did I say that right? Did I say that right?
Chanisa,
Yeah, okay. My name is Chanisa, and I am
growing,
awesome. Awesome. Today I have learned
love, real love.
awesome. After everything you done been through, your journey, everything that has been in your life when it comes to addiction and your recovery, what have it taught you and what have you learned?
To always be honest and stay true to yourself.
Awesome. Is there anything I would love for you to, if it's might be somebody out there, a young lady, a woman, or a man, anybody out there right now that is battling addiction, that's going through something that they just need to hear some encouraging words. Can you give them some real quick? What would you tell them?
You got a purpose in life, and somebody loves you. No matter if you feel lonely or if it seems like everybody that turned their back on you, somebody loves you. Somebody gonna appreciate you, and don't ever feel as though you're not enough, because you are. Even if you put your best foot forward, you are loved. May
Awesome.
not be from the ones that you want the love to come from. That, and 9 times out of 10, that's not the best love. You are loved.
Awesome. Awesome job. Thank you. Thank you again. We're going to end it there. You did an awesome job today, everybody. Man, I would love for you guys to just give her a round of applause because you nailed everything and you was upfront about everything, and that's what we about on this channel. You are. I hope you guys that were watching today. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We will appreciate your subscription. But I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to have you on this show, because that's what it's about. We love to try to inspire and motivate people in addiction. So you
Yeah,
know how.
thank you for having me on.
Thank you. We will be seeing you again, and I would love for you to become a part of this community that I have going. And whenever we do some more little panel discussions, I make sure I reach out to you.
Do so. I don't mind it. Got more questions for me or need, certain advice I can give. I'm always open for any and everything at this point.
Got you. Got you. I will be reaching out to you. Thank you again. Thank you.
You have a good day.
You too. There you have it, everybody. Man, that was an awesome, awesome interview. We rocked out how we rock out. And that's what it's about, man. Shanisa went through a lot of things in life, just like the most of us do. But it has you overcome it. That's what it's all about. You can't never just sit down there and beat yourself up. You gotta want to do better, and you gotta put in the work. So that's what it's about. Like, hey, if you rocked out with me this long, all the way to this end, make sure you get this video a thumbs up and make sure you share this live stream, because it might be somebody out there that need to watch this video, that need to listen to it, that need to listen to what she just said, because she been through a lot. It might be somebody in your family that you might just want to send this to them. Just go send it to them and tell them to go scope it out. But we're going to continue to rock out how we rock out. Make sure if this is your first time to the channel, you subscribe to the channel, because we're inspiring everybody in addiction, one episode at a time. Till next time, it's Show Out TV.
Welcome to Mr. Show Out TV Recovery and Addiction YouTube channel, where we hope to inspire those battling addiction. Please subscribe and like the channel. Make sure you click the notification bell to get notified whenever we broadcast. Thank you and enjoy the show. To support the channel, you can send donations to Cash App $Mr. Show Out TV. So please don't wait, subscribe now. Together we can help and give inspiration to millions of people.